What is up, mathletes? Care to Math. Thanks for tuning in. Part 2 coming at you here. What we're going to talk about now is finding area of a triangle using Heron's formula. And I know what you're thinking. You're looking at this guy and you're like, wow, Bordeaux, he looks a lot like you, man. And you know what? You're right about that because he is my great grandfather, which is where I get all my math knowledge from. He was a Greek mathematician. I'm an American mathematician. And yes, I'm lying. We actually are not related at all. But I'm still going to teach you his formula here. It's great stuff. So what we're going to do is if we're given three sides of a triangle, we can find the area by first finding the semi-perimeter, or S is what we're going to call it. So all that is, or how we find it, is we're just going to do A plus B plus C. We're going to add up all the sides, and we're going to divide by 2. So add up all the sides, divide by 2. And then the way we find the perimeter is we are actually going to take the square root of S times S minus A times S minus B times S minus C. So we're going to take the square root of all that. So that's why we need to find the semi-perimeter first. So let's go over an example of this, and we'll go over even in a more difficult example that we'll see. So I'm actually going to go to example 3 because, well, I like the number 3. So I'm going to do that one. So if we want, we can draw a picture of this, right? We're trying to find the area of this triangle, ABC. And we know that AB is 11, we know that BC is 5, and we know that CA is 12. So the first thing I have to do is I have to find the semi-perimeter. So from above, remember it's just A plus B plus C divided by 2, or in our case, 12 plus 11 plus 5. We're going to divide all that by 2. Right, so if we do 12 plus 11 plus 5, we're going to get 28. If we divide it by 2, we get 14. So now what we have to do is we have to use our area formula, which was the big one about the square roots and the S's and the A's and the B's and all that stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 14 and I'm going to multiply it by 14 minus my A, or 12. And then I'm going to do 14 minus my B, or 11. And then I'm going to do 14 minus my C, which is 5. So I've just taken the semi-perimeter and I'm taking it and I'm subtracting off all the sides. Then I'm multiplying the semi-perimeter at the front of it as well. So if we put this into our calculator for follow order of operations, I'm going to get the square root of 756. And we can turn this into a decimal. We don't have to simplify the radical. So what we're going to do is we're going to get 27.5. And they didn't give me any units, so I'm just going to say it's units squared. So that's how, if we're given three sides and we're trying to find the area, we can use Heron's formula to find it. And we have a couple asterisks here on example 4. So I'm going to show you example 4 here. So we're trying to find the perimeter of a triangle is 32 units. Its area is 35.8 units squared, and the length of AB is equal to 14, and BC is equal to 12. What is the length of the third side, CA? So we're trying to find the length of the third side. So we're going to have to kind of work backwards here. Right, so I'll just show you what we got here. Right, so we have triangle ABC, and they tell me that BC is 12, and they tell me that AB is 14, and I don't know what CA is, so I'm just going to call it X for now, right? But what do I know? Well, I know that the perimeter is 32 units. I know that the area is 35.8 units squared, and I know all the sides. So here's the deal. We can't go about this and just start plugging in 32 everywhere, because what we have is we have the perimeter. We do not have the semi-perimeter. However, it's going to be easy to find. If I want to find the semi-perimeter, think about what a semicircle is, right? If you have a circle and you have a semicircle is half of the circle, right? So I'm going to take this, and I'm just going to get, in order to get the semi-perimeter, I'm just going to divide by 2, right? I'm going to take the perimeter and cut it in half, so I get 16 units. This is great because now we can start to use our formula that we got from Heron of Alexandria. So I'm going to take this 16 units, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug it into our area formula. Now here's the deal though. We know what our area is equal to. It's equal to 38.5. So I'm going to take the square root, and now I'm just going to start plugging stuff in, right? So I have 16 times 16 minus, I know AB, so I can do 16 minus 14. I know BC, so I can do 16 minus 12. And I don't know CA, so I'm just going to do 16 minus X, right? So the 14, the 12, and the X, those are just like my A, B, and C that I subtracted off in example 3 above. Now we are just following orders of operation here. So what I have now is I have 16 times 2 times 14, and then I have times, or not 14, sorry, 4. (16 times 2 times 4, and then 16 minus X still, right? So this gives me 35.8 is equal to the square root of 128 times 16 minus X. So now what I have to do is, I could take this 28 and distribute it in, but for now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get rid of this radical, and I'm going to take the square root of both sides. What that does is, on the left side it gives me 1281.64, and on the right side it gives me 128 times 16 minus X. So I've taken the radical off of that, and now it's just a couple step equation, right? So something that we learned in algebra 1. So I'm going to divide by 128, and what that does is it gives me, I'm just going to write out the full decimal that we got here. So it gives me 10.0128125 is equal to 16 minus X. Subtract 16 on both sides. Don't get worried here, because what I have is, I do have a negative. I have negative 5.9871875 is equal to, but it's equal to negative X, right? So I can take this and I can divide by negative 1 on both sides. And what that does is, since I divide by negative, I'm just left with 5.9, if I'm rounding, equals X. So CA is equal to 5.9 units. So that's how we kind of work backwards. We were given perimeter, we were given area. We had to follow a little step process, but eventually we got to our answer of finding the side. So hopefully this helps. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you soon on the old virtual video.